And so if you went from 3.5% unemployment to 4% unemployment, that would be a trigger. You'd go above this orange line. And as you can see, almost every single time in these gray areas, these are recessions. The Sahm rule predicts essentially a recession. Now, it seems to be different this time because we triggered the rule and unemployment is ticking ever so slightly down here. But still, I think over the last year or so, this is why people are starting to feel more insecure. You're starting to see some more layoffs. Hello, everybody. It's Mike Preston here at New Harbor Financial Group, bringing you what we hope is some data and insight. That's our purpose of being here, to help you through the myriad of complexities you're dealing with in your everyday financial life. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe, reach out to us, put your comments down below. We love to read them. Today, we're going to be talking about job insecurity. And if you're feeling some job insecurity, you're not alone. There's a lot of you out there. Right now, 4.4% of Americans expect or fear the loss of their job in the near future. That's the highest since COVID. So watch this video. Hopefully we can help you feel a little bit less anxiety about that. There's a lot of folks out there that are just worried right now. You're definitely not alone. In my career of 25 years or so, I've helped a lot of people deal with job insecurity. I've helped them deal with the ramifications and the fallout of the things that happen if they lose their job, if they're laid off. It's especially hard if you're later in your career. If you're in your 50s, late 50s, or even early 60s, it can be really difficult to get up the confidence to get out there again and look. And some people just don't or can't or decide not to. And that's okay too. But we're here to help you through this thought process and to help you feel like all is not lost. And if you're feeling in despair, I think, we want to try to help you through that. This basically shows you what percent of people feel like their retirement savings plan are on track. And this is over the last 7 years or so, going back to 2017. I think the first thing you can see is that really the majority of people have worries or don't think they're on track. If you take a look at this, the highest it's ever been really in the last 7 years is that 40% of people thought their retirement savings were on track. And of course, that got worse in the pullback of 2022. It got a little worse when COVID hit. We're having a little bit of a bounce here over the last year, but still only 34%. That's about 1/3 of people think their retirement savings is on track. Put another way, 2/3 of the people out there think they're behind. And if you think you're behind and you're worried about losing your job, that's a surefire recipe to have anxiety. It's also taken people longer to find jobs right now. On average, it's taken people about 22 weeks. So take a look at this. The data actually gets worse. At higher income levels, there's more concerns. So if you're $150,000 and above, nearly 3 out of 4 people are worried about their jobs. At the $100,000 level, 62%, all the way down to under 50,000, about half the people. So even at the lowest income levels, half the people are worried about their job. It makes sense in that the higher the pay the job is, the harder it is to replace. Or put another way, at the lower income levels, people feel like perhaps those jobs are more interchangeable. But the takeaway for me really is that at least half and up to 3/4 of people feel insecure. That's a lot of people out there feeling insecure. There's some reason that people are actually feeling uneasy right now. This is the chart of the Sahm Rule that essentially predicts almost every recession. If you take a look at what the change in unemployment is, if it actually goes up 0.5% over the previous 3 months, it triggers the Sahm Rule. And so if you went from 3.5% unemployment to 4% unemployment, that would be a trigger. You'd go above this orange line. And as you can see, almost every single time in these gray areas, these are recessions. The Sahm rule predicts essentially a recession. Now, it seems to be different this time because we triggered the rule and unemployment is ticking ever so slightly down here. But still, I think over the last year or so, this is why people are starting to feel more insecure. You're starting to see some more layoffs, and certainly amongst the clients that we work with, it's a more common reason for getting together and talking. So in this video, we want to talk about how exactly to prepare yourself so that you don't feel vulnerable, so you can have some power back. And so those of you that work for an employer or have a boss feel like you're not a sitting duck. That's our sole intent here. So as we talked about before, not only is it taking people longer on average to find jobs, up to 22 weeks on average, people are actually worried about their jobs. I would say, if you take a look at this chart, those along the bottom part here, down in the fashion and transportation industry, 30 or 40% of them are fearful about losing their jobs. But if you look up in the higher paying jobs like finance, advertising, software development, IT services and data. 60 to 70% of people are worried about losing their jobs. So there's just a lot of worry out there, and worry takes away from peace, tranquility, and happiness in life. If we could do anything to make you feel better, then I think that we won, and we feel good about that. Take a look at that chart and think about what your particular risk level is or how you might feel and see if you fall in line with those numbers. So let's get to the steps that you can take now to help yourself out. This is really the meat of what we want to talk about. The first thing you can do is build an emergency fund, ideally 3 to 6 months of living expenses. 42% of full-time workers, nearly half of the people out there, do not have an emergency fund. And if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're at the whim and the mercy of your employer. So if you can at all build an emergency fund, it's going to help you feel better. If you need to talk to a professional about ideas about how to do that, we'd be happy to help you think that through. Cut unnecessary expenses. There's a lot of different places you can cut expenses, from saving on insurance or maybe eating out less, or saving interest expense on high interest credit cards. Talk about how to avoid that. Take a look at your debt situation. Pay down debt where you can and or consolidate it. I just made a mention of the high interest credit cards. One of the worst things that can sap your income is high interest credit card debt. Consider additional income streams or side hustles. If you've got skills that are hard to replicate, think about a side hustle, think about entrepreneurship, think about starting your own business. Some people that I've met throughout my career that have been extremely successful and happy actually created something great, a business out of a disappointment or out of a layoff. So sometimes there's a silver lining to these things. It's easier to say. It's not easy to hear when you're in the middle of it, but sometimes it can be a good thing that has happened to you if you look backwards on it. So definitely think about starting your own business. And so if you find yourself in the unenviable position of being laid off, you have to do some negotiation. The first thing you should do, instead of panicking, instead of being emotional, which of course you will be, but start to write down a game plan. Think about what your game plan will be. Negotiate for a severance pay. What's normal? Anywhere from about 2 to 3 months up to a year or so is what we've seen. The longer you've been at an employer, the more severance you can get. The more severance you can get, the more time you have to land on your feet, pay down debt, get additional skills, that type of thing. Think about your healthcare coverage. Cobra provides for 18 months of healthcare coverage after you're laid off. You have to pay the cost of it, and that's an additional cost, and hopefully you get some severance to help you with that. Or maybe you can negotiate the employer paying for the cost of Cobra during this time, but you're going to want to make sure that you keep your health care, because if something big happens and you don't have it, there's nothing that can make your situation worse than not being able to get coverage or being financially ruined because of a healthcare expense. So I'm here to keep it real with you. That's how we are. We're straight talkers. There's not a lot of that, it seems, in this world, but we really want to try to connect with people and help where we can. We don't want you to be caught off guard with this. If you need help, reach out to us. And if you just take this advice and prepare, build your skills, pay down debt, build an emergency fund, consider long-term entrepreneurship, capitalizing on the skills that you already have. These things are going to help you feel less vulnerable and will help you feel more secure. If you want personalized advice on how to protect yourself, absolutely. Reach out to us for a free consultation. Look down below. The link is in the bio. Whether you're actively looking for a financial advisor or you just want to chat, I'd love to connect. Our team would love to connect with you, help you think about ways that you could achieve financial freedom. So thanks for tuning in. Please don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share it with friends. And lastly, those of you that have been laid off in the past, what has helped you the most? Share in the comments below what's helped you. Perhaps some other people can benefit from your experience. Leave it in the comments. We read them all, and a lot of other people do. Again, thank you for watching. Subscribe. We appreciate you. Until next time, this is Mike Preston. Thank you.